Hey guys, we are here, and we are here. Welcome to HealHer Haven podcast, the first episode of HealHer Haven podcast. With your host, Faith Ivaze. Nice to meet you guys. I'm so excited to be here. And I am here to help guide you on your healing journey. Okay. This podcast was created because I wanted to help women heal. I am on my own healing journey, been on my healing journey for a long time. On my healing journey, I realized I didn't have a space where there were women alike that were going through the same emotions, going through the same turmoil, going through the same struggles. I can resonate with them and gain some support, insight, and whatnot, or we can be accountability partners. I felt like I needed a space on my healing journey, and I did not have that. And so that's why I created HealHer Haven, right? This actually came from a breakup that triggered the start of the podcast. It triggered the start of my healing journey, actually, which I'm so grateful for it. I want this to be a space where we elevate each other, where we empower each other, and we help each other heal and find self-love and love ourselves more, because there's nothing wrong with that, right? HealHer Haven is just supposed to be a beautiful space. It is a beautiful space where we can just coexist, we can share stories with each other, we can bond with each other, grow with each other, and love on each other. Because who doesn't want healing? Who doesn't want to feel like their baddest self, their baddest baddie, right? The baddest version of themselves. Who doesn't want to be surrounded by people that care for them, that love them, that cherish them, that see value in them? Even if people don't see value in you, as long as you see value within yourself, that's all that matters. And so this is that space for that. With HealHer Haven, I believe that every woman carries her own story, her own strength, and her own light. Every woman carries their own light. And you shine when you walk into rooms, right? When you are your best version, when you are your highest self, you shine when you walk into these rooms. When it comes to HealHer Haven, I like to go with this whole mantra, right? It's like a little manifesto, because we're going to go by her, because you are her. You are her. So we're going to start with H. She is healing. Okay. She is healing, not just from what broke her, but into who she always was meant to be. Okay. She is healing. E, for she is empowered, owning her voice, her worth, and her power without any apologies. Unapologetic. Okay? And R is for resilient. She is rising after every fall, and she shines brighter and brighter and brighter with every lesson learned. She is her. So today, I really wanted to talk about, for the first episode, basically the first step that I had to do in order to start my healing journey was forgiveness. Okay? Forgiveness. I never realized how hard forgiveness was. When you have so much pain in your heart and you don't know how to get rid of that pain, you just want to release from it and just be happy and be yourself again. Forgiveness is that first step in order to feel free, and I had to do that. I have to talk about some personal things. As I was getting older, I realized that I was an angry person. I would hear it sometimes from family members. Oh, Faith, you can be very aggressive. You can be very angry at times. You're very angry. And I never understood, what? Internally, I feel so happy. I'm always making other people laugh. What are they talking about? No, you're angry. No, you're crazy. I was a little bit delulu. Okay, I was delulu. And then I just took a step back. I'm okay, if multiple people are pointing out something within you, and you've met all these people in different walks of life, and you're the common denominator, you might want to look in the mirror, sis, and figure out what the heck they're talking about. So I had to do that. I had to go to my therapist and okay, help me to understand what this emotion is. So I did some digging on my own healing journey, my own soul searching, and I realized I was angry from people that have hurt me in childhood, growing up, and just in life, right? I realized that I was holding on to that pain and holding on to resentment Even if it was like, I don't know, I'm just telling you, I was holding on to certain types of pain that I didn't even realize that I was still holding on from, because I'm always laughing all the time and always smiling. But they say the ones that are always laughing and smiling are really truly masking the most pain. And boy, was that true. Okay. So through my healing journey, I was angry from my father at the time, wasn't always there in my life, given like popcorn daddy energy, but he tried his best. But I realized that little girl inside of me was so angry. Like, I realized it caused abandonment issues, right? So I noticed that, okay, boom, this one hurt me. I'm gonna be forever mad, and I'm so angry with him, even though I still loved him, right? I was still holding on to anger. That formed me to build up a wall. So I wasn't always vulnerable and open with people. I'm always guarded and looking to my left, looking to my right. I'm always paying attention to see, like, okay, I'm always sizing people up because I'm trying to size up to see if they're good energy or bad energy, which is something I think you should always do naturally, regardless. But I was doing it to the extent where there's soldiers at the wall and then nobody's coming through unless the queen says so. You know what I'm saying? And it was a little bit too dramatic. And I realized, like, holding on to all this anger and pain, it was causing me to be very masculine, and I didn't want to be masculine. Like, I noticed I was becoming very masculine. Of course, there's other reasons and avenues why one can be masculine, especially a Black woman who is independent and whatnot. Seeing their mother be a very strong, independent woman, you start to gain certain masculinities. That's a whole other topic. But I started to have all these realizations, like, okay, Faith, there's certain things that you don't like about yourself. You're realizing that you're starting to hurt people around you from this anger and this pain. Let's go to the root cause of it. I went to the root cause of it, and I realized you're mad at this person, you're mad at this person, you're mad at this person, and you recently became mad at this person. One was a father, one was a family member, and one was an ex, okay? And I think after the heartbreak from my ex, I realized I got to do some healing, because I was such an angry person. But once I came to the awareness that I was angry, I said, okay, Faith, you need to figure out why you're mad at them and why you're holding on to it. I realized holding on to the anger was causing me to not really and truly be free or be happy, okay? So the first thing was first, I had to talk to that little girl inside, right? From the first pain of my dad. And I had to start speaking affirmations to myself, like, Faith, I love you. And I'm talking to a little, maybe 5-year-old Faith, right? Like, Faith, I love you. Faith, you're beautiful. Faith, you are worthy. Faith, it's okay that, so-and-so wasn't in your life. They are human. Not that I was giving excuses, but I was just acknowledging, like, I'm human just as much as all these other people that have caused me pain are human, right? And all these other people that have caused me pain was caused onto them too. And they probably didn't know how to navigate that pain, right? And sometimes that popular phrase that everyone says, hurt people. And and that kept playing in my mind. And I was like, okay, it makes sense now. Once I realized, like, yeah, these people are human, maybe some of the stuff wasn't intentional. They were just going through their pain. And sometimes, people do crappy, shitty things to other people that they love. I had to tell myself, we're all living a human experience. We're all learning this and living this life one time, right? That I had to find space in my heart in order to forgive them and move on past it, because I didn't want to harbor this pain and this anger and resentment anymore. Like, it was just so unhealthy, and it was making me so bitter inside. As much as I was trying to mask it with laughter and joy, your girl was angry, very angry. It's disgusting. I'm not gonna lie to you, it's very disgusting. And I didn't want to be that girl no more. One of my favorite quotes that Maya Angelou, the amazing poet, said is that one of the greatest gifts that you can give yourself is to forgive yourself and forgive everybody. I find that quote so profound because I resonate obviously with it so much, because even though I needed to forgive those that hurt me, I had to forgive myself. I had to forgive me, especially when it came down to the relationship that I was just in with my ex. I saw there were issues prior to getting to the relationship, right? And yet I still chose to get into that. I decided to get into that, which led to my heartbreak, my very first heartbreak, right? And at the end of that whole relationship, I kept blaming the other person, of course, because that's what most people do. They want to blame the other person for the hurt, for the pain, this and the third. But I had to realize I had to blame myself as well. I was the cause of my own heartbreak. It is what it is. Yeah, I saw the signs and I didn't protect me. I didn't protect myself. I didn't value myself enough to say like, hey girl, this isn't really what you want. This isn't really what's best for you, And it's not to discredit the other person in the relationship. You never want to discredit or judge the other person because everybody has their own flaws. Nobody's perfect. I definitely walked into that relationship with my own baggage as well, which I realized I was not ready to be in a relationship for my own sake. But going on my healing journey, and I realized, Faith, you got to forgive yourself. That was pretty tough because nobody wants to blame themselves for the pain that they're caused. You're just so used to blaming others because it's so easy. We're all adults. We all make our own decisions. We all have free will. And I realized, yeah, I'm definitely partial to blame. I will take 50% of that blame, 50% of my hurt. I have to, even though I 100% have to do all the work in order to heal, right? And be the better version of myself. I have to do all that work, but that's just a consequence. But in all actuality, it's not a bad thing though. It's not a bad thing. A lot of people like to look at heartbreak as one of the worst things, right? You're going to go through your depression, your sadness, like so many negative emotions come about a heartbreak. And don't get me wrong, I went through those things, but I realized that this was all a temporary feeling. This is all a temporary fix, that it's not the end all be all. And sometimes when you go through a heartbreak, you feel like it's the end all be all, like, woe is me, like this was my love, this was my heart, this was my other half, like I can't live on without this person. But you can, because you're breathing right now. You still have air in your lungs right now, right? No, you're still existing, you're still present, that person's still present. You just have to come to that realization, like that person just wasn't for you. And it's okay, because what's for you is for you. What's for you is for you. That's been my mantra all this year, is what's for you is for you. And that goes and aligns with anything. What's for you is for you. That job, what's for you is for you. That car, what's for you is for you. Forgiveness is necessary for the first step when it comes down to healing. You have to forgive yourself. You have to forgive others, because if you do not forgive, there's no point of even going to the second step, to the next step of healing. If you cannot get over that pain, if you cannot get over that hump, those hurdles of people hurting you, you have to heal. And healing starts with forgiveness. Because once you are able to forgive, you're going to feel such a big weight lifted off your shoulders. And then on top of that, that person doesn't have much control over you anymore. When you don't forgive, you give so much power to these people. And they don't even probably pay your bills. They don't pay your bills, right? They don't put food on your table. They don't put clothes on your back. They don't put money in your pockets. So why do they have control in how you navigate and move in life? I had to realize that. And I was like, yeah, this is not going to cut it. Like, I can't allow said people that have hurt me in my past to have so much control over me and how I navigate and how I operate in this world and how I move with people. It just was not healthy. I didn't feel like I was living my true identity, my true form, right? I felt like I was living a certain way where I'm attached to people, like tethered to people, because I'm still holding on to the pain. And that pain reminds me of that person and what they did to me. So I'm going to move and operate because I'm still feeling this pain of what that person caused me. And if I meet somebody new over here, I'm still operating from pain. And I'm going to treat this person a certain type of way because I'm still operating from pain. And I'm not giving this person the chance to get to know the real me, the real authentic me, right? The undamaged me, the unhurt me, the healed version of me. I'm so grateful for this podcast. I'm so happy that I started HealHer Haven. This honestly is just my little baby. This is one of my passions. I love talking. I love talking with my friends. Just, being that person, that ear to listen to, right? I love giving advice. Sometimes it's very hard for me to take my own advice, right? But we are all a work in progress. Nobody is perfect. I am not perfect. That's why I'm on my healing journey. Okay. That's why I'm on my healing journey, right? But I wanted to create this space for women or men, whoever it aligns to, right? Where they can feel like, I resonate with her. I get her. She gets me. I feel you, sis. You feel me, right? We can support each other. We can help uplift each other. We can empower each other. And honestly, this is all just so that people can be the best versions of themselves and live their life to the fullest, being the happiest version of themselves and what God created them to be. We don't have to harbor and wallow in negative emotions. We don't have to let messed up situations and circumstances or negative life experiences in life to harbor us and form us into being like so tight and inside of a box and so constricted, right? Where we can't be free and roam and just be ourselves and just love and share love to others. A lot of times people don't want to love on others or don't want to open up to others because they were so hurt from people in their past and they haven't forgiven them, and they hold on to so much hurt and pain. But in all actuality, the only one that's really hurting is you. The only one that's not living life to the fullest is you. Is really, me, right? So I think that's why I'm okay to like do my podcast now, because I'm walking in my truth. I'm walking in faith, right? I'm walking in purpose. I feel freer and I'm more happier now that I've forgiven those that have hurt me, right? And I'm just much more happier with myself. It feels great. Honestly, I was a little nervous to do this podcast, but I'm always talking to myself all the time, and people think that's crazy, but I don't think that's crazy, because that's what people do on a podcast. They're talking to themselves, but really talking to you. But I'm physically in a room, four walls, talking to myself. So yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed the first podcast of HealHer Haven. This is about forgiveness, the first step into healing and becoming your baddest baddie, your baddest self. Positive, elevated baddie. You have to go within, deep inside you, and see who you need to forgive. Write it down, journal it down somewhere, and figure out who it is that you need to forgive, regardless of what type of pain that they caused you. And it could be the worst of the worst of the worst pains, right? The forgiveness is not for them, it's for you, so that you don't have to harbor those emotions anymore, and you can live outside of that shell that they've put you in from that pain, and blossom and be the bright star that you are, and gravitate towards the blessings that God has for you. Make sure to follow and subscribe to my YouTube channel and to Spotify, because your girl needs the support, and we want other people to get on their healing journey too. This is her journey, her healing, her haven. With your girl, Faithy Vaze.